Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited to be able to introduce you to our new Director of Family Support, Sandy Vandeveer Irwin. She's here to talk to you today a little bit about her history and kind of what her experience has been in the ARC and the first however many weeks she's been here. She'll tell you how many Mondays she's spent with us. So, welcome to the Q&A, Sandy. How are you today?
I'm good, Sharon. Thank you for having
Uh,
me here.
And congratulations, Sandy just got married, so this is a new practice run through on her name. I think I did pretty well.
You did.
Um, so I always like to start, Sandy, to kind of get an idea of what people's personal and professional backgrounds are that drove them to this work. What have you done prior to arriving at the ARC that made this feel like a good job match for you? Tell everybody a little bit about you.
Yeah, so a long time ago, I started off as a music student, and that didn't really pan out real well. So I ended up in the education field. Really, my experience came from the great educators that my children had back in the early 2000s. And then I was a special education teacher for several years. I left that field for a little bit and worked for the St. Louis County Libraries for about a decade, which was really wonderful. I worked in the youth services department, so still working with children, children's programming. The youth services department also ran our programming that worked with children and adults that had disabilities and special needs. We brought in programming um, working with any of the um, disability community programs, day programs that would come in. We would do programs and story times and things like that. So I still got to use some of my background, which was great. Then for a little bit, I worked for the Delta Gamma Center for Children with Visual Impairments as a manager there. And now I'm here as the Director of Family Support. I really wanted to kind of just grow my experience and work for a larger organization that had a greater reach in the community. And so this was the perfect fit for me.
Fantastic. And do you know how many Mondays you've been here?
I just hit my 90 days a few weeks ago. So yeah, I think I'm permanent now, maybe.
Okay.
I bought some swag and things like
Yeah,
that.
we
So
wait to interview
yeah,
people till they hit the 90 days and get through
yeah.
it. So well done.
Yeah.
Uh, your job entails overseeing multiple programs. Could you talk through a few of
Sure.
actually share with us all of the programs that you
Sure.
oversee?
So I'm over the family navigation team. We have four uh, four navigators, five, six navigators, if we really want to say that. We'll talk a little bit more about that in detail. The respite team, the arch respite team, and advocacy as well. That's kind of a small area. It's growing. Really, the whole agency does advocacy, I would say, but advocacy as well.
So I'm gonna like dig into each of those services a little bit. You've been here 90 days. Tell
Mhm.
us in big picture what we're doing to support people through the Arch program and what some of the features are that you've been really excited about.
Yeah, so our arch respite program is one of the largest I believe, in the country. It's been around for a really long time. Mark, our executive director, kind of started it years and years and years ago. It's very precious to him. It is a little bit different from other respite programs kind of in the community. It is a reimbursement voucher program. So we don't actually supply the providers for the families. We reimburse them for providers that they find for their loved one. So they can go through a training through us on how to use our program, and then they turn in vouchers as often as they want. They can turn in vouchers every few weeks or monthly, and then we reimburse them up to a certain rate. They can pay their provider really whatever rate they want, but we only reimburse them at a certain rate. And we are funded by the SB 40 boards, and that's how we end up getting reimbursed as well.
About how many vouchers do we process annually in the Arch Respite program?
Well, we have about 1,500 families enrolled, so it's quite a lot. We have two different ways that we do the vouchers. We have an online portal, which is we just revamped and is new. We are really trying to get, I'll say this, we're trying to get online vouchers up to 95%. So right now we're about 75% families using the online portal, and the rest are doing what we call paper vouchers. And so they're turning them in either through submitting them through an email, they're dropping them off at one of our locations, or they're putting them through the United States Postal Service. We're really trying to get away from that because the paper vouchers, there's human error in that. And so if we can get to everyone using the online portal, it just cuts down on that human error, and people can get reimbursed faster as well. So it's kind of better for everyone involved. It's more efficient, and it allows for our small respite staff that we have to spend their time doing other things to support the family supports team. So it's really great.
I imagine that something like that probably requires some work on our part on the front end to help those families that maybe haven't decided to move over to the online center. Is that
Yes.
something you see kind of coming over the next few months, or what's our plans to provide that support?
100%. I talked to a mom today who for 25 years has been using paper vouchers, and she sees no problem with it. She likes having a paper trail. She likes having that carbon copy of her paper vouchers, and I totally understand that. She feels safe with that. But we would like to really find a way to make her feel safe using the online portal. So our respite team has been doing some trainings. We can do in-person trainings, we can do online trainings. They can come here, they can bring their phone or their tablet or their laptop or some other device, and we can show them how user-friendly the online portal is, and we'll talk them through it and support them in any way that we can. We really want to help them have that confidence in using the online portal.
All right, that's excellent information. So I'm going to say if you're out there using respite services and you're still using the paper vouchers, we're not going to leap in and take away those services, but we do want you to have some conversations with us about how we can help you maybe move forward to try the digital platform. Okay, so let's switch a little bit over to the role of the family navigators because that job's pretty nuanced and there's multiple different things that you might find a navigator doing. Can you describe that a little bit?
So I'll talk about the four kind of general navigators we have, and then I'll talk about some of the other navigator positions that we have. So um, we have some navigators that kind of really focus on age ranges. So we have ones that cover kind of our younger age range, our children's age ranges 0 to about 11 or 12. Then we have a transition age range from about 13 to 20, young adult 21 to 29, and then our 30 and up. We also have somebody new in the city who's kind of really focusing on those city ages, 16 to older adult. Um, and they can really help you with lots of different things. Maybe something just immediate that you may need, or something more long term. For our younger kiddos, that may be something going on in school, as simple as helping you understand the IEP process, or helping you to just navigate conversations about anything with education, or maybe going to a doctor's appointment, understanding things like that. Again, as they get older, we really want you thinking about things that are older when they're younger, but we know that a lot of families may not. But yes, as they get older, what's going to happen after school, thinking about employment or volunteering, or all those kinds of things, going to college, maybe all of that. And then again, even older, is it going to be maybe day program or residential, or again, volunteering or work or whatever it may be. And then again, of course, the aging population, again, we can help with all that kind of stuff, navigating all those things. We can help with crisis situations as well. or we can find resources that maybe are better suited to help you with some kind of crisis as well. We can help with paperwork. We are having paper parties, and we're going to be doing those going forward, hopefully. That if you have different paperwork that you need filled out, government paperwork, medical paperwork, whatever it may be, we can assist with that. We also have a newer role, our eligibility and intake family navigator, and they really provide kind of that initial central intake role. And they are someone that can just kind of give you information or referral. They can kind of get you to the right place, I would say, is kind of their best role. And that is, again, that's a new role, but they're great for the whole agency and for our department as well.
Fantastic. And I'll just take a minute to say that because Sandy is here, I've been able to do a little bit of navigation by helping out with making connections in larger companies around St. Louis that maybe want to provide more support to their employees that are also caregivers. So that's been really fun for me to add to the resources that we have here. You know, Sandy, I think sometimes people think that family support is family navigation. And there's a lot of other things that we do from information referral to community resource fairs to support groups. Is there anything that you've seen that you thought was really exciting in any of those arenas?
I'm glad you brought up support groups. I should have mentioned that as well. That's something that our family navigators are actively involved in. And that's something that I would say I would love to see more participation in. I think that some of our support groups have really dedicated participants that come every week or every month. But I would love to see more of our families and participants attending some of our support groups. We have support groups for almost everything you can possibly think of. And I think that they're just such a wonderful opportunity for families and individuals to be with others that are kind of in the same situation or dealing with the same kinds of successes or challenges. They're a great way to share resources. I had the honor of leading one that I don't normally lead, I just sit in on. And a mom was talking about a pediatric dentist that still sees her adult daughter. And we know that for a lot of our participants, going to the dentist is really something that they struggle with. And this pediatric dentist is just a rock star, according to this mom. And the other parents on this group, I mean, this was just a godsend for them. And it may sound like something simple, but this is absolutely something that they are looking for. So it's something, again, that I think that I would love for us to be able to really get more families involved in those support groups. And again, all of that's free. Those support groups are something that people can just join, and a lot of them are virtual, so it's convenient still in a lot of ways, and I think that's great.
What a great plug. If you want to figure out how to find those, there's a couple things I'm going to recommend. One is that if you go to our webpage, in the top right corner, there's an opportunity to click and get a weekly email from us that's going to keep you up to date about everything that we're doing. And if you click on the program link and go to the family supports page, there's a whole page that we keep up to date about what type of support groups that are there. And there's also a program calendar that you can click through to register for any group that you're interested in. So that's my tip for the day for that. So let's talk a little bit about St. Louis Arc. This is not your first rodeo, and I know how hard it is to leave one work culture and come to another one. What sort of things have you learned about the Arc and have surprised you maybe about the work environment here since you got here?
Yeah. I think something that I noticed early on is there are people that have worked here and then maybe they've gone elsewhere and they come back. And one of the reasons they come back is because it's such an amazing place to work. And not that they didn't know that before, but maybe they just saw a different opportunity somewhere else. And then they found out that, wow, there's no place like the Arc. And I think that there's definitely this whole culture, and there's just this way about here that we want to make sure that the staff is cared for and supported so that we can care for and support the families and the people that we are caring for. And I see that already. And so I totally get it. I totally see why people stay here and come back if they've left. So many people, when I meet them, they say, "Oh, I've been here 20 years. I've been here 30 years," and I love it. I think it's really really amazing. Something else that I've noticed when I've been out in the community at other organizations, at these large meetings with other organizations, is there is this wonderful collaboration between other organizations. No one is territorial. And I've worked at other organizations where they are not really big on sharing resources. And that is not at all the attitude that St. Louis ARC has, or other organizations that the ARC works with. Um, Everyone so far that I've worked with at the ARC and these other organizations, they definitely want what's best for the families and the participants that we work with. And they understand that, hey, somebody else may have resources that we don't have, or they may be able to do it better than us. And so let's find what else is out there for that individual. And I love that. I think that's just really, really a fantastic attitude to have.
Yes, I agree. I'm glad you brought that up, and I think it's really demonstrates our commitment to families getting exactly what they
Mhm.
need. That if it's not us, let us find the right thing for
Yeah.
you. I've been super remiss. I like jumped right to that question without letting you talk about advocacy. And I know that you've kind of gotten embedded in some of the
Yeah.
advocacy efforts going on. Can you talk about what that looks like from your lens?
I sure can. I just got back from Jefferson City. Actually, I was there on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. Yes, we have a wonderful navigator who really leads the charge, Hannah. And she has really brought me into the fold when it comes to all of the wonderful work that she is doing on the advocacy side. We are part of the Gateway Coalition, and they have been organizing a lot of just these little, we call them coffees, with a lot of the representatives from the state of Missouri, just really kind of expressing to them the great things that our agency is doing, other agencies like ours are doing around the state, and specifically around the area, St. Louis County, City, Jefferson County, St. Charles County, specifically focusing on DSPs, the direct support professionals, targeted case management, things like that. The importance of pay, which is always going to be an issue in this field, in education, all of that, and then also the SB 40 boards, which fund a lot of our services across the agency and across other agencies, which have to do with the personal property tax that the residents pay at the end of the year. And so it's been really exciting for me to get involved. Tuesday specifically, we went down to Jefferson City and we just walked around. There was about 26 of us, and we just went into offices and talked to whoever we could. And it was very chaotic and exciting, and everyone was fantastic. And it was the first time I've ever done anything like that. And it was great. It was great to see everyone come together from different agencies and really have a common goal to advocate for the people we serve, the families we serve, and for our agencies. So it's an honor to be able to participate in these wonderful things that we're doing.
So I'm glad you talked about that. Families, how can they become involved in more of these advocacy efforts?
For sure. I think that if you may not think that this is something that even matters, but you can call your local representatives. Like it's a real thing. You can call them and you can talk to them and you can tell them your story. Your story matters. And when that was one of the things that when we were sitting down talking to people, we talked about the stories that we know, but it means a lot more coming from you because it's personal and intimate, and it's your story, so it definitely matters. You're allowed to go to Jeff City too. I know it's a little bit of a drive, but you're allowed to show up and just knock on doors and ask to talk to people. You can of course make an appointment, but you can also just walk in and try to talk to somebody. And if they're not available, you can talk to their LA or their legislative assistant or whoever. We were even pulling people off the floor, which they had been through an all-night filibuster, so some of them were happy to be pulled off the floor. So it was okay.
Not really
But
as scary as I think
it's
people
not.
think it's going to be.
It's
You
not.
know, if
Mhm.
families, if you need help with this, there's a couple ways that you can engage. We do have an advocacy at slark.org
Mhm.
website or email. If you contact
Mhm.
us via that email, we can put you on our ARC advocate list, which
Mhm.
means that when we're doing advocacy, action alerts. We can send those to you so that you can participate. And we give you some language to help you
That's
think
right.
about what it is that you want to say. We do have Disability Rights Legislative Day coming up. So let's do a quick
March.
commercial for that.
Mhm.
Sandy, do you know when Disability Rights Legislative Day is?
It is March 13th, I believe. And right now, I think we already have like two van loads of people coming down with us, but I'm sure we can get another van if we need to. So we'd love to have as many people join us as we can. Yeah.
And you can always join us at the Capitol. That event last year was so incredible. There were so many people with disabilities taking the lead, so many families that were present. And Sandy's right. Your voices mean 10 times more than ours easily to go down and talk to a legislator and help them understand why reimbursement rates for direct support staff impact the quality of your family members' lives, why cutting the personal property tax would impact the services that you get if you're funded through the Productive Living Board, DDR, DDRB, one of our county tax boards. So you all can make the difference, and we're here to be a little bit of support. You talked a little bit about increasing people coming to support groups. Are there any other things that you think are, that you've been surprised people aren't taking advantage of?
We send out these surveys for our respite families and things like that. And our respite team kind of noticed that we have so many people participating and taking advantage of our respite program, but many of our respite families are not necessarily taking advantage of the other services. A lot of our families that participate in other ARC services are respite families, but not the other way around. And so, something that we've been really intentional about when we do our group intakes for our new respite families, and our eligibility and intake family navigator is also doing is really just plugging those other services that the ARC has for families. And again, that's when it comes back to not being territorial. So not only outside of the agency, but also inside the agency. We really want to make sure that our families take advantage of all of the services that the ARC has to offer, as long as they're eligible for those services. So, I mean, we have wonderful, wonderful social activities, leisure activities, recreational activities, of course, fantastic, employment services, of course, for our older adults, things like that, camps, all that's coming up. As we get closer to summer, but we have our regular R&R camps, all of that, just all these wonderful, great things. And our children's department, children's services is of course fantastic. We can talk a little bit about the parent cafe, which is also coming back, which is part of children's services, but I know family support kind of tag teams with them a little bit, which is again, very much like, a support group. And it's specifically, for parents to really just get together and support each other and chat. And there's facilitators there. It's not necessarily directed like a webinar or something like that where you're getting a lesson about something. It's really just a time for parents to be together and to share successes, or maybe share what's turning your hair gray. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a great time to be together. So those are going to be starting up again as well through our children's services department, which is fantastic.
I'm really excited for that to
Mhm.
happen. That's such a good group. And if there's anything that Sandy's talked about that you thought, what is she talking about? I've never heard of that. The easiest way to find out about all of our services is just to call our main office line at 314-569-2211 and get directed to that intake and eligibility person. Tell them you want more information about our services. That's all you need to say, and they're going to get you right to her. She's going to help you find what you need and get you to the right people so that you don't have to spend a lot of time on the phone. Anything else? Do you want to have tell us about a success story? Is there something that you thought, boy, while I have this opportunity, I can't wait to tell the families about this thing? Anything you want to talk about to close? Go for it.
I think really the one of the greatest things I've seen again is just really how hard our team works. They really support each other. They work really well together. Our team is very diverse and they bring a lot of different talents to the team. They all have very different backgrounds and kind of experience. And I think that that's what makes them so great and in supporting each other. And um, they really care a lot about the families that they support. I have seen them just put their whole heart into the families that we serve and the participants that we serve. It's been really, really great being part of the team. And so I feel very blessed to be here with the family support team specifically, but also the ARC. So it's just been really, really great. And I'm excited, Sharon, to see, what you're going to be doing with the corporate America and helping all of them kind of understand that, they have families to support as well and loved ones to support. I think that's really exciting too, that new experience for you as well.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, and I'm so happy that you're here and that you are able to guide our team into the next step of what we can offer to families. So thanks for joining me today. It was really fun to talk to you in this a little bit more formal way. I hope I didn't say anything that was too tricky, but your answers were all great. So thank you, Sandy, and everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.